how this leads with chronic issues in your body if you don't give yourself a break, if you're still learning about like your journey and connecting. And sometimes our brain can go in cycles over and over and over again, and that will tire our body out. Sometimes we're not even always talking, but there's stuff happening in the background that's really tiring our body out. This is actually the focus of what Michelle Perry Roberts wants to talk about today. She's learning so much this week in her journey as she's not been feeling well for a few weeks. And there's just been stuff going on since September, and she keeps learning. And I think this is really important. These conversations are so important. We need to discover for ourselves how we can step into something that feels fresh and new, and that our body starts feeling better, feeling empowered, opening our vocals to be able to share what we really care about. And I know I'm going to get Michelle Perry Roberts on here, but I know that with this podcast that Michelle's been speaking about these things over and over, but just different angles, that Michelle's voice is even opening up more, because this is the spot where she gets to speak. Where are the spots that you're not speaking your truth, that you're really sharing about what you feel, so that you feel more empowered, but you're also learning about when you're working really hard, that you find ways to come back to your body and say, hey, I need to give you a break. I love you. Michelle Perry Roberts, welcome into your podcast. I am not my diagnosis.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast and monitoring it. Yes, the last 3 weeks have been true hell. I've been working nonstop on a project, working 12, 14-hour days, just because that's ingrained in me to work hard. And I wasn't getting a lot of rest. I woke up one morning, I couldn't move my arms, my body. I was like, this happened to me in 2007 when I was diagnosed with MS. I woke up, I couldn't see and I couldn't move. Well, this time I could see, but my body was barely moving. The pain level was off the charts. So I went, oh, great. What did I do now? Caused a flare up.
Hey, Michelle, you're going somewhere real important, but can I share with everybody, and maybe even you too, is I don't know how you feel about out there, but well, you know, when you're overriding things. So I've been around Michelle this whole time through September, and now on the outside, you wouldn't even know that she's dealing with this because she's overriding everything, even though she's feeling the pain deep, deep inside. And I have a question for you. Are you feeling like people don't really know what's going on, and you're overriding and overriding, even though you're feeling really deep inside the pressure and the stress?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that up, Michelle. Like on the outside, it's just like you're just doing your stuff, and
nobody knows.
Really know the depths of the pain you were feeling.
They don't know that I have fentanyl patches all in my back, and every morning I have to go get pain shots and go to the chiropractor. That's been my MO for the last 2 weeks.
Every single day, pretty much, Michelle.
Yeah, they're doing an MRI on Monday, because for some reason I injured the left side 5 years ago skiing, and I had a lot of issues. And then everything I was compensated hit my right side. So the pain was on both shoulders, up the neck, couldn't lift up my arms, could barely type. It was very debilitating. In the meantime, I had been tasked to clean out a room that had all my clothes in it. And that was taskful, but I had a lot of friends from church come help me, and a lot of different people, but the stress was still there. I was on a time frame.
Okay, you're going to go, and the stress was still there. Can we rewind it to kind of blow some air in that space about why there's a room full of clothes? Because you're learning about your journey here about overriding things. You brought that up. Can you bring in just a little bit of story there, information?
Definitely. Every September is probably the hardest month of my life. It has been for the last 30 years. My son died on September 30th. So every September, something tragic would happen. 4 cars I have totaled in the last 5 years. Just crazy things would happen. And then this September, things were starting to happen. I was like, oh my God, here I go again. And I kept praying, and I had people at church pray for me, and found out there was just had a lot of, I hate to say this, spiritual warfare going on in my life against the good and evil. And you don't realize that until you're, walking with the Lord, and all of a sudden these people pop into your life that shouldn't be there. So definitely went through quite the journey through September, which led into October. One of the other huge things that happened, my job decided to turn me into commission only. And I can't live on commission only. My value is where I'm worth. But my biggest thing that I did was pick up the phone and started calling people I know. So I landed 3 jobs. So to get rid of one, I add 3. So I don't know how
I'm
I'm
so
going to do
proud
it
of
yet.
you too.
Don't know how I'm going to do it yet. I started one, and the other one doesn't start till November 1st. And the same with the third one, doesn't start till November 1st. So
I know.
just,
I'm so proud of you, Michelle, and the pain that you're going through. I hope that you're resting quite a bit too.
I have been. Yeah.
Because I was contacting Michelle, and she was saying, "Oh, I just drew a bath for myself," and I was like, "No way." Michelle's taking really good care of herself. So very proud of you.
Well,
So
I
you're
had to
learning.
totally, yeah, I was sleeping a lot, had to definitely take a lot of baths, work on some meditation, just to get in the right mind because the pain was so intense. And in that intenseness, you're trying to survive too. Because here you just got laid off. Well, told your job you're commission only, which, I was getting paid a nice salary. So I had to figure out how to remake that up really fast. And that's what I'm doing.
So what are you learning from this? Because you were overriding before all this happened. You were in the month of September, and it is one of your hardest months. I know you're learning this how you can work through that in your discovery. Every year it seems to be getting more and more calm as you're learning how to work through the November and bring truth to it. But all this stuff was really happening where September is really a hard month for you, but then you are working, bringing, doctors in, getting ready to, get a clinic more up and running. And then all of a sudden that everything changes, and you really took a step back and noticed how much pain your body was having and how much breathing room you really needed. Is that something new for you to do? Because I
Yes, it
know you're
is.
already working and stuff, but you took some time off.
Yeah, it did. I
Yeah.
definitely noticed once I slowed down how important it is to make sure I keep doing that and get back into exercise because those are the 3 things I haven't been doing: sleeping well, getting exercise, and eating properly. So my body was just not happy.
Yeah. Can we talk about, I think a good spot would be overriding stress, what you're learning about that, because of what you're feeling today and the pain. You really built that up already in the beginning of this podcast conversation. What are you learning about all the years of you overriding your pain? And
Well,
yeah.
all of that caused overriding it for as long as I did caused all these chronic diseases that I have. Stress and inflammation cause disease. And I have 8 chronic diseases. I had them all remission, but one just woke up and said, "I'm sorry. You need to get back to what you were doing." So that's what I'm working on.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Is it, Michelle, does that feel vulnerable for you to slow down because of going all those years and you're discovering more about how lovely it is to slow down so your body can recuperate? So is
uh,
there some vulnerability in that, maybe, in
there's a lot
learning
of
how to be quiet?
vulnerability in that because you have to feel. I spend my whole life not wanting to feel. So
Yeah.
signed up with a counselor. I've had 2 sessions so far, and that's been really helpful. We've been working on some of the things I've been struggling with for quite some time, that I'm not good enough and self-sabotage and working too much. I become a workaholic and a shopaholic. Those are my two addictions. And I'm working on the shopaholism by going to a support group, and cleaning out my closets was huge, because that's really hard to do. Somebody who has as many clothes that I do, that you love them all, you don't want to get rid of anything, but it definitely downsized. When
And
people
I
laugh,
remember, I remember talking to you about your clothes, and like it was like just silence, like, you know, your whole room that has clothes in it, you could sell it. And I know that you're already working on that, but it was like that was like no conversation. Like you're like, oh yeah, I know, but you didn't even say that. It just literally was like, like I'm taking care of it. You're like, I'm taking my steps. I'm taking care of it because it's like your babies. It's like that. There's a reason why it's like. And I was sharing with you, if you look at it, you have to work on this as a positive way, so it doesn't shame or put any blame on you. Like I have to clean this whole room and take care of this stuff. It's like just think of it that you just did a pre-investment. You're in transition from one, client to bringing in a few
correct,
more.
correct.
And this is your way of just saying, okay, I did my investment. Now I need to, they're great
Get back.
clothes. So you get
Yeah,
to put them on consignment and stuff.
yeah. And that's what I did. And I even put a box for you together, Rhonda, that I have to mail. See,
Look
that's the
at
fun part.
that.
Yeah, that's the
Hey,
fun part.
Michelle, can we talk? Thank you, my friend. Can you share more about? I know that we've been together with me being your coach, and because you've learned so much. So I know you're learning to slow down or understand what that means. Because I think this September you got through it better than you have. But I mean, just watching it, I know you are still dealing with really, really big things. But through these years, like 4 years, whatever, how long we've been together, going on 4 years, what are you discovering that you're learning to release?
Well,
Why are you showing up better?
one
What
is
have you been
one is
releasing?
guilt and shame. I've
Mhm.
been able to release. Another is overcompensation. I've been able to release. One has been abundance in other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause you have abundance in clothes, but that's this overload. But the abundance of love for
Yeah.
yourself and being able to have even, I think you're really good at relationships, but
Yeah.
knowing that you're worthy of having everybody around you love and appreciate you as much as you're
Yeah.
learning to love yourself. So also you can, because you do that for others
Yeah.
nicely.
I'm really good at others. I don't do it very well on myself. So I had a massage the other day just for a half hour. It relieved a lot of the knots. I have to go back to the things I used to do. And that's where I'm like, okay, we have changes in our household coming. So that's a big stressor. So we're going to see
Yeah.
how that works out. Um, my biggest portion in this life is that I got a second chance of life. And my job is to help other people heal and live longer. And that's why I have these 3 great jobs that are starting. I get to still live my mission. I get to close the other one behind because there's no future there with what's happening with them. And I wish them the best. And I get to move forward with 2 new companies, 3 new companies.
I know because people really do. That's what you're learning, huh? I'm saying, huh? Like, because that's part of the conversation is, and you're moving fast since we first started
Yeah.
coaching, but because you didn't know like what your worth is. Like sometimes you wouldn't even get paid, but you are working so hard for people. But the hardest thing, which Michelle's very good at now, so you can break through this, but it's a lot of work. It's around the money.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'd still be working, and they'd be like, "Oh well," and
I
you'd
can't
be like,
pay you this month.
"You're like, oh, Rhonda, I'm trying to get money," and so we just started talking about strategies and how you could see yourself more, and that's part of self love,
Mm-hmm.
being able to learn how to do that. And now you have jobs that are like clients that are like one's pretty much starting up, but you know the angle and how to take care of them, and then you have others that are like they need your support for the marketing. And so these clinics that you've been helping, they do know that you're really, really, really good. So I'm glad that the money's being spoken about and everything's being set up right. So you're starting to set yourself up for success. Does that
Yeah,
help you with knowing that that is starting to get more secure, that maybe it helps with backing off and, working
it
massive
does.
hours
I don't
because you
need to work
kind of understand
12
your
hours.
worth?
I don't need to work 12 hours a day. No
Yeah.
person is. Just work 8, work 6, take time
Yeah.
for myself.
Yeah.
So like last night, I was in so much pain. I went to bed at 4 o'clock. I had no other choice.
How are
So
you feeling today?
I'm hurting. I have an appointment to go to the pain doctor at 10 o'clock and the chiropractor. So it's, yeah, they don't understand why my body just keeps getting out. It's,
Yeah. Well, did you, because they're probably pretty holistic. So do
they
they
are.
really know? Do
Yeah.
they really know how hard you're working and
Yeah, they
how you're
do.
just overriding everything to take care of
Yeah.
everybody else?
Yeah, they know.
Because I mean, I don't know if I have a question about that. I'm like, oh, I get it. Like,
Well, and the best part is I have 2 amazing doctors that know my history.
good.
Dr. Narizi, I mean, he treated me when I had a wound vac and my pain level was 10 every day. He was the one that got me out of pain. And he was so shocked when I ended up back in his clinic, starting over again.
Tell them you're learning, though.
Yeah, I'm
Anybody else
definitely
out
learning.
there watching this
Well,
podcast,
and
I
this
mean, you have to
what's
be
funny,
learning.
yeah, this time it's my upper neck and shoulder blades and mid back, but it's not like before when it was all over my body. So I have to be thankful it's just the in upper part.
And you stopped yourself before it went through your whole body. There's something there that you've learned that you
I knew
can,
I was gonna oh, I did crash. I
yeah,
really did crash.
yeah.
So now I'm just trying to build myself up again.
And I think when you get more in tune, also that you feel your aches and pains sooner so
Mhm.
that you can crash before what maybe you do before. You just keep going and 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 going. And I really believe that all through these years of watching this from like a tenfold plus of your income, how it's real, how you've been managing this, is that you being able to watch others see your worth, because they've been saying it, or they wouldn't say it, they'd hold back, because depending on when we first started working together, you're working with people that are just so self evolved and involved, and so
Yeah,
you're doing all this great work, but they wouldn't even, like, they're like, oh, hey, you're doing a good job, but they wouldn't really give you the kudos. To now you're getting
right.
like higher level clients
Yeah,
that are like, that really understand, like, hey, I see you, Michelle, and I want to share with you money, and I want to
yeah,
share with you because you are really helping things grow. I mean,
correct.
there's like such a, so this is why I could see why your whole body, why you were able to slow down before your whole body sat with all that pain.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a good thing that you have to feel all your pain, because before you probably just kept going and going and going. And so, like, when you're in your brain so much and you're moving, you have pain. But when you really start getting into the truth, you're catching your pain in your body sooner than you would before. So it's like, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry for you, Michelle. But it's also that you get to stop with these chronic diseases.
Yes.
Can you share more about that? Just kind of riff on it about
Well, I think the
your
hugest
personal
part,
journey in
yeah,
this.
my personal experience is I had everything in remission. I was doing really well. And then life happens and you stop doing things that you're supposed to be doing for yourself, and things can flare up again. And that's what happened.
Well, even like I would talk to you and you would say, I'm going home early tonight. I don't know what time it would be, maybe 9, or like maybe 7. I don't know, but it was a late. It was like I already
Yeah.
knew you were going for a long time. And so, do you think that with this chance right now, because right now you have things getting started in a couple weeks, you have one that's already started, a client. Does this give you time to get to that next level,
Yes.
really? Because
Yeah.
been taking a bath, you've been going to the doctors, you're getting some mindset stuff. And how's it feel? to clean a whole room that where your clothes were? How's that
I want,
feel?
I want it back.
Well, where are all your clothes at?
They're rolling rocks in my bedroom, and all the closets are filled.
But why do you want it back? It's because you like to see. Is that just your comfort, just to be able to walk in a room and
Yeah,
see everything you
it's just,
have?
yeah, it's just
That's
easier.
what's hard. Is you?
You know,
And I think you're learning that because you are going through counseling around this, like with a group, a help group with
self-help
this.
group.
So
Yeah.
what are you sharing with your group about this? Because this is like, I mean, this is not funny. I mean, like this is serious stuff that you actually get to share how hard this really is for you.
Well, it is. It's just like an alcoholic stopping alcohol. It's just like a drug addict who's stopping, what they're doing. Mine was shopping and mine was working.
Yeah.
That's where I put all my intentions and ventures and life into. So I
Hmm.
wasn't giving any of myself a time to heal
Yeah.
at all or take on or do things for myself. I was doing for everybody else. And I've learned right now I have to take it upon myself.
Yeah. Anybody else? We're streaming through YouTube live. You're going to see it in replay. If you're seeing it in replay, we're going to have a recording. I know we're going to be sharing that. So just share with, like your journey around this, because this, as you're hearing, it's affecting Michelle's body. And I bet your body too, if you are really connecting with this, what's happening.
You don't never know what your body is going to tell you or what it's going to do. You never
Yeah.
know. It can turn on you in an instant. I
Yeah.
mean, people who can have a heart attack just like that. People can have,
Yeah.
be diagnosed with cancer just like that.
Yeah.
So I'm learning that, you know, to stop and take care of myself again. That's a
Michelle,
huge thing.
the I'm going to this whole feeling about like, so I used to be real proud of myself in being able to go. And was like so proud of myself to even stay up till 4 a.m. Like I would go to school, and this, I mean, I would do it even after school when I was done with my schooling, but go to school, go, to the gym and train people, then do a little bit of homework, go and waitress at that time. Then I
Yeah.
would study, and I'd stay up till 4, and I'd have an 8 or 9 a.m. class. And I was just so proud of that. And I have different scenarios, but this is kind of one of the basic stories. And so I just keep going and going and going. And I just say to myself, "Oh, you can handle it. You can handle it.
Do it.
You're strong." And I would do that. And then I wouldn't be listening to myself. But I was going to ask you a question with this. But I would get to a point where I just go so flat that I couldn't feel emotion, or that I get really depressed. Like, and it was, I know I could be depressed because I didn't have the energy, but the depression was I couldn't see myself anymore at all. Like, I was so lost and I didn't see results of people being happy with what I was doing. If I was working for somebody and doing all this work, I'd feel deeply empty, like just like I was scraped inside, just like
Yeah.
so yucky. Can you share what you're going through with all the work you've done, and with people not always appreciating you as you're working your butt off for others, but you're learning also to love on yourself. But what's that feel like when you finally stop?
Um, it just feels complete now. It's okay to stop. I mean, if I was to continue with the other company I was working with, we're going to be out, they're going to be out of a job in probably 30, 40 days anyway. There's no funding left. They've
What
burned
about the
through everything.
emotion though, Michelle? What are you feeling when you first do you stay numb at this point when you feel all the aches and pains in your body? What's the emotion that
I'm
comes up
totally
for you?
numb, anger.
Oh, anger.
Yeah.
Because
Guilt.
anger because your body won't keep going, or anger because why?
Yeah. And anger just because of what just happened. I'm angry at those people.
Oh, yeah. But what about yourself though? How, besides the outside, how do you feel inside?
I still am working on that. I still have a lot of that self-doubt, self-pity, I did something wrong, it's all my fault. Yeah, I'm working on that.
I'm so glad you're sharing that, because that is like You think about that, and that's what kept you going and going and going is like that. What you feel now is like those things. I don't have to re-say them because we all deal with those things. But for you to expose that as you're going through and running your podcast, I think that those things just need to be talked about.
Yeah.
'Cause there's a reason why you did what you did and you're doing what you're doing, but you're doing it better. But the more you get to speak to it, people understand that because
Mhm.
and if anybody, and I think about this, Michelle, if anybody judges on it, it means they're not going through the process
Correct.
because we've all felt that, but not everybody knows that they felt
Um,
that or they won't, they are still closed off. And so you're
yeah.
serving at a high level when you start speaking about these things.
Mhm. And
I don't
you
know
can
how do you,
tell you, I've gone through so much, and it's part of my testimony that I'm learning is that how many people I help all the time.
yeah,
Like when I was in counseling yesterday, one of the things she said is like your testimony is the hugest thing to your story of being God's miracle, of being getting a second chance of life, all of that. You are the perfect example of
mhm.
what people need to see of hope and not
That's why
giving
we
up.
named your podcast this.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know that
'Cause
I'm not my diagnosis, and
yeah,
you know that, but when you're in the middle of the storm, it's hard to step out of it. But when you step out of it, you can say all those things, but when you're in the middle of it, you don't hold that, you don't stay in the middle as long as you used to.
no,
So
no.
we need to love on all aspects of that because I don't believe anybody's weak. I think we do those things because we're resilient and strong, but we don't have the tools around it to step
Yeah.
out of that storm. And you have those tools and you share with people, but you get lost too, just like everybody does.
Mhm.
And this is important stuff
Yeah.
to talk about. We need to stop the shaming and blaming out there and really expose ourselves and say, hey, I'm doing this because, and that's your testimonial.
Yeah, and the shaming and blaming, that's a lot of my childhood. So those are tapes that you think you changed, but they haven't.
I think you've gotten better though.
I've gotten better.
Yeah,
I
because
definitely got
you'd
better.
still be going, you wouldn't stop until
Yeah,
you basically almost died. Because as it's happened before like that,
yeah,
you just don't but so I mean, I think we're always gonna be working on ourselves, it's
we
like it's
are.
the software.
It's yeah.
And for you to talk about this is pretty damn awesome.
And sometimes you need a reboot in life, and I just got my 3rd reboot, so that's what I'm working on. So just to know that there is hope out there, even if you get a diagnosis, believe me, there is alternative care that you need to look into too, because you got to get to the root of your problem. And that's what all my doctors have done is gotten to the root of the problem. That's why I'm in remission from so many things. But things can come back in an instant like that because of stress. And that's what happened.
I love it.
So,
That's why you're a patient advocate. That's why when you're working at clinics helping people that you sit down and talk to the patients.
yeah, I do.
Thank you, Michelle.
Well, thank you.
Anything else you want to share before we
Um, well,
transition?
I think that transition is definitely, talking about the 2 new clinics I'll be working at. You know, one is doing ketamine and psychedelics. This is the new thing for people that suffer from depression that fail their SSI drugs. They have to fail 2 of them, which a lot of patients do. They use ketamine to bounce the body back, and they use it for pain, people with pain. So, and there's some other drugs that are psychedelic drugs that are coming, just like I say now, it's so much fun to get my mother high because I go to the cannabis dispensary and get her stuff. I never used to, I never touched drugs in my life until I had to learn about getting off pain meds. So,
Right. Which pain, come on, pain meds are drugs.
yeah,
We just don't call it that. And we
yeah,
call it like you're taking, but I mean it literally is you're taking drugs. And so
yeah,
now you have a structure around it that's more gentle on your body.
yeah. And it's funny, just take 2 gummies, I'm fine at night.
Wow. That's wonderful.
Well,
I
I have to
love that
take them
there's
for
that
stress.
medicine out
Yeah.
there now.
I do have medicine too that has to turn my brain off. So I'm not completely cured of medicine yet, but we're working on it.
You
But
are. I'm so proud of
all
you.
this is a process, and then there's a a newer brain health, a newer company called Epic Brain that's in Reno, Nevada. They have newer equipment. Um, they are super wonderful people, um, and I'm like, I go to church with the owner. I'm like, this is a sign, because the other one I was struggling, 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 struggling.
You're working very hard, but you were
Yeah,
getting results.
yeah.
They just didn't have the whole structure to
They
grab
didn't
it
have
and
the
move
yeah,
forward.
yeah, they didn't. So, that's their loss. My
Yeah,
gain is a new adventure.
yeah.
So,
Thank you
I
for
appreciate
showing up, my friend.
I
This
appreciate
podcast is
you.
gonna be great. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you keep going.
Oh, I'm just appreciative of you, of everything for being a part of my life and everything you've done. So, the best part is now I can get to go back to bed.
I know because what is it? Self-care. You gotta
So,
go extreme.
I gotta go to
You gotta
sleep
go
a
to back to
little.
bed.
Yep. I'm hurting really bad. My appointment's not till 11 this morning.
I know because usually Michelle will talk more, but you see how she's only gets a few sentences. That's why usually I'm not interjected as much as this, but this is what it is. Michelle can show up and she's still in extreme pain, but now it's time to go to bed. I appreciate you, my friend.
All
I'll
right.
send you the link so
Okay,
you get to
perfect.
share with everybody.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I
All
love
right.
you.
I love you too.
Okay, let me end here and then we'll
Okay.
get